So there's this huge showdown brewing in the United States, but it's not happening where you might expect. We're talking about a battle over who gets to control the future of artificial intelligence. And really, it's a fundamental conflict over power, innovation, and of course, safety. It all boils down to this one central question. Who gets to write the rules for AI? Are we going to have a single set of regulations coming out of Washington, D.C., or are we going to see a patchwork of different laws from all 50 states? So what's kicking all this off? Well, it's a really dramatic new push coming from the White House. The goal seems to be to centralize control over AI and pretty much tell the states to back off. And the tool they're planning to use is a proposed executive order. The objective is simple, it's direct: stop the states from making their own AI laws and instead create a single federal standard for the whole country. So what's the logic behind this? Well, a social media post from the president kind of frames it as a global race. The argument is that having 50 different rulebooks just slows the country down, and that puts America's big lead in tech at risk. And believe me, this proposed order has some serious teeth. A draft version shows two pretty powerful ways they could enforce it. First, telling the Attorney General to go ahead and sue states to get their AI laws overturned. And second, using the power of the purse, basically threatening to hold back federal money from states that don't get in line. Now, this move isn't just coming out of nowhere. It's got the backing of a pretty powerful coalition of tech companies and White House officials. Their whole argument is that a single federal rulebook isn't just a nice idea, it's absolutely essential for the future of American innovation. And to really get where they're coming from, just look at this number: 50. This year alone, all 50 states and territories introduced some kind of AI legislation. Now imagine you're a small startup. Trying to navigate one set of complicated rules is hard enough. Trying to navigate 50? That's seen as a potential death blow. It could stifle your growth before you even get started. The key legal concept they're hoping to use here is something called pre-emption. It's a really powerful idea in American law. Basically, when a federal law and a state law clash over the same thing, the federal law wins. The goal is to use pre-emption to just clear the board and create one single national market for AI. You can really hear the tech industry's fear in this quote from the venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz. They argue this patchwork of state laws creates a massive imbalance. Think about it. Big, giant companies can afford armies of lawyers to deal with 50 different rulebooks. Startups? No way. And that, they say, threatens the very innovation that keeps the U.S. competitive. Okay, but that's just one side of the coin. There is major pushback coming from states, from consumer advocates, and legal experts. And they have a completely different vision for how AI should be handled. And this isn't just talk. I mean, look at the sheer amount of activity that's happening at the state level. While 50 states introduce bills, a staggering 38 have already passed them into law. This just goes to show you, states aren't waiting around for D.C. to act. They're moving fast to deal with the concerns of their own citizens right now. So what you've really got here is a fundamental clash of priorities. The federal push? It's all about national innovation and speed, making one simple rulebook so businesses can move fast. But if you look at what the states are doing, their focus is often totally different. Things like consumer protection, data privacy, and tackling really specific threats, like AI-generated deepfakes messing with elections. And, beyond the whole policy debate, opponents are raising a huge legal challenge. As Travis Hall from the Center for Democracy and Technology puts it, the president just can't preempt state laws with an executive order, period. They argue that this is a power that belongs to Congress, and Congress alone, not the White House. So what's the big fear on this side? Well, consumer and child safety groups argue that if you just wipe out all these state laws before a federal one is ready to go, you create this incredibly dangerous regulatory vacuum. In their view, it would mean there are basically zero guardrails for AI development. So as we wrap this up, what we're left with is this fundamental battle. And it's not just about technology. This is a classic American debate, right? The balance of power between the federal government and the states. It's just now playing out on the wild frontier of artificial intelligence. And make no mistake, the stakes could not be higher. The winner of this fight won't just be setting policy for the next few years. They're probably going to define the entire path of AI in America, shaping what gets built, how fast it develops, and what kind of protections all of us have. Ultimately, it really all comes down to this. When a technology this powerful comes along, who should be the one to write the rules? The government that's closer to the national tech industry, or the governments that are closer to the people? The answer is going to define not just the future of AI, but a little piece of our own future too.